It's time.
It's time.
Our music director, Maura, is taking a little vacation today, so Alex and I will be handling the duties.
Good job, good job.
I think that's yet to be seen, but it's time for the dead and gone. It's time for the broken ones to live again. It's time for the dead to rise. It's time for the wings to fly, to live again. I can hear the calling, I can hear the sound of rain. Over the mountains, over the valleys, I hear the calling, and it's time. Over the mountains and over the valleys, I hear the calling, and it's time. It's time for the dead to sing. It's time for the walls to ring with songs of freedom. It's time for the numb to feel. It's time for the wounds to heal with songs of freedom. Oh, I can hear the calling, I can hear the sound of rain. Over the mountains, over the valleys, I hear the calling, and it's time. Over the mountains and over the valleys, I hear the calling, and it's time. It's time for the tide to turn. It's time for our hearts to burn with a desperation. It's time for a sacrifice. It's time that we paid the price for our generation. Oh, I can hear the calling, I can hear the sound of rain. Over the mountains, over the valleys, I hear the calling, it's time. Oh, over the dead to rise. Yes, it's time for the wings to fly.
I hear the calling, it's time.
It's time for the numb to feel. Yes, it's time for the wounds to heal.
I hear the calling,
and it's time.
oh,
It's time that we pay the price. Yes, it's time for a sacrifice.
I hear the calling, it's time.
Here we go.
Over the mountains, over the valleys, I hear the calling,
And it's time.
over the mountains, over the valleys, I hear the calling,
And it's time. All right, let me hear you guys now. Ready?
over the mountains, over the valleys, I hear the calling, it's time. Over the mountains, over the valleys, I hear the calling,
And it's time.
time.
One more big one. Here we go. Over the mountains, over the valleys, I hear the calling, and it's time. Over the mountains, over the valleys, I hear the calling, and it's time. Thank you. I needed that today. You guys have no idea. To hear you all sing is just wonderful. We're going to try a new song. This is not just new to me, but it's actually a new song. It's just been released. It's kind of timely. It's a blues singer named Shamiquia Copeland. And she plays in this area quite a bit. She's part of I just saw a Cabot Theater lineup of women in music, and she's going to be part of it. I'm not Shamiquia Copeland, so I'm going to do my best to do this tune. It's called Ain't Got Time for Hate. Where's your wings, little angel, my sweet baby child? And how you gonna live in a world that's gone wild? You better be smart, you better be strong. You ain't gonna be here long. Don't care if you're rich, ain't got a dime. This life is an uphill climb, but I ain't got time, I ain't got time, I ain't got time for hate. One more moment is a moment too late. I ain't
got time for
hate. People lost and lonely, looking for a home. Call us names that still hurt us a lot more than stones. It's the law of the jungle, it's the law of the land. We hold each other's hearts in the palm of our hands. Here we go. And I ain't got time, I ain't got time, I ain't got time for hate. One more moment, a moment too late. brown or tan, every woman, child, and man, rich or poor, gay and straight, we ain't got time for hate. Take it, Keith. I ain't got time, I ain't got time, no, I ain't got time for hate. One more moment, a moment too late, ain't got time for hate. We're all born, then we die. But on this earth and we don't know why. We breathe the same air, we bleed the same blood, some in mansions and some in mud. Little angel, if you survive, I know someday you're gonna fly. 'Cause I ain't got time, I ain't got time, ain't got time for hate. One more moment, a moment too late, I ain't got time for hate. One more. I ain't got time, I ain't got time, ain't got time for hate. One more moment, a moment too late, ain't got time for hate. And now let's rise and sing our opening song. Let us pray. Surely the presence of the Lord is here because you are here. You, the embodiment of the divine. You are God's love made visible. You are the joy of the Lord, and it is your strength. And today we come together to remember that, to celebrate that, to honor that, to ground ourselves in that, to remind ourselves that in the midst of all that swirls around us, we are the eye of the storm. We are the peace that passes understanding. We are God that we seek. So let this be your mantra. Let this be your mission. To be the eye of the storm. To be the peace. To be the divine. And so it is, and so let it be. Amen and amen. You may be seated. Good morning. Welcome to Unity on the River. If you've not had the chance to meet yet, I am Reverend Ogun, Senior Minister here. Thrilled to welcome you on this crisp fall day. You know, usually when fall happens and it starts to get cold, it does a number on me. As you all know, I'm from Barbados, and whenever it starts to get cold, I start to get a little cranky. But I made a really interesting insight this morning, and I was walking out of the house, and it was cold and dreary, and I'm like, you know, it's fall, the leaves are falling, it's getting all depressed, and, you know, there's some metaphysical about this, I'm sure, but I can snap myself out of it. And it's taken me this long to realize the obvious. Are you ready for this? Yes. I mean, it's so obvious, I can't believe I didn't really. So it's happening, fall's happening here, right, in this part of the world, in Northern Hemisphere. Guess what's happening in the Southern Hemisphere? It's springtime, right? So I don't know why it took me so long to realize this, but just as fall is kind of like the earth turning in on itself, and us doing this involution, and I tend to go inwards and get all like, you know, cranky and down because it's like cold and shivering. I have decided today that every day I'm going to live as if I'm in the Southern Hemisphere. And so therefore, I'm in denial of fall, and I'm affirming spring. In my, you know, we do denials and affirmations in Unity. I'm denying fall and affirming an inner spring. And now the fall doesn't have its purposes. It does, but I just can't handle it right now. So I'm going to affirm a spring. So I invite you to join me this week, and join me in welcoming David to facilitate for us today. Welcome, David. Thank you.
There. Is it on?
Yes.
I like the idea of perpetual spring. I dress for perpetual spring today. No Halloween. What do you think of Unity's version of Boys in the Band? Wasn't that pretty incredible? I mean, we love Maura, but she deserves a vacation, some time off. And we have live streamers. Let's welcome our live streamers. Hello there. Thank you for joining us here at the service this morning. We'd like to welcome everybody here, especially those who are here for the very first time. We'd like you to stand, if you would mind, so we can acknowledge you. Anybody new here for the first time? Okay. Anybody here for the second time? Anybody here for the 10th or 12th? No, we won't go there. Okay, so I can't say the following spiel about the flower and the little prize in the bookstore. Unity is a center of celebration, inspiration, spirit-centeredness, oneness, and joy. Please hold these truths in your heart as we say our mission statement. We are a vibrant spiritual community that celebrates the presence in all and awakens humanity to its divinity. And our vision statement, centered in love, we joyously co-create a world of oneness, peace, and harmony. Now we have a few announcements here. There's a healer's open house today after the service. That's a wonderful thing. Stay around and you can sample a lot of different modalities of healing. And I think the ushers or the greeters had tickets for various healing sessions that you can attend. Also, we want you to save the date for the upcoming on Friday, the U Club Cabaret. The U Club Cabaret is a unique event. You're going to really enjoy the music and the entertainment. We're going to have an appearance by the Overtones a cappella group. That's going to be something you won't want to miss. Also, we're going to have a surprise appearance, nobody knows this, by Louis Armstrong. Now, no, seriously, I know the body is dead, but the spirit lives on, but you have to come to find out what that will look like. It will be a surprise to many who, I'm not going to say any more about it. We have a community meeting on October 28th, next Sunday, at 11:20 a.m. And we have a Unity Basics course being offered by Ogun. 2 sessions on November 11th and November 18th. And you can sign up at the bookstore. If you have any questions about that, talk to Ogun. Also, on Wednesday night, Ogun will be leading the prayer and healing service on Wednesday night with Reverend Ogun. So, and I think now is our namaste. Time to greet each other in peace. Say namaste. The Spirit in me beholds the Spirit in you.
We were warming this song up this morning, and a couple of people came by and said, I'm going to be singing along with you. I said, that's okay. That's good. So feel free. When I was a boy each week, Sundays we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word, consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad that miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, finding where there isn't one. Holy water was rare at best, barely with my fingertips. But now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. There used to be a world half there, heaven second-rate hand-me-down. But now I walk with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Questioning child's face, say it's not a testament, that'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, say it's not a sacrament, I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood and saw a little red-winged bird shining like the burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. Made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then, 'cause everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, having second-rate hand-me-down, but now I walk with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Let's sing it all together. Ready? Everything, everything, everything is holy now. You all sound great today. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now.
So we are jumping into week 4 of Story of Our Time. I trust that everyone's reading it. I'm not going to ask for show of hands. I want to keep my expectations, at a moderate level. But we're jumping into week 4 of this book, and this week was the week that really kicked my butt. This was the week where it was one of them, rubber meets the road, piss or get off the pot kind of scenarios where I really had to ask myself, am I really doing the deep level of transformative work that I say that I am? There's a lot of great stuff in here, really fun concepts about, where we evolve into as humanity and our human consciousness and what needs to be called forward, global leadership levels and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. And then I also remember stuff that I said. And this is where I get myself in trouble. I say things, and then it's like, yeah, you said that. And one of the things I always say is that if you want to see the transformation out there, you've got to do the transformation in here first. And it seems like a really kind of vague concept of times. And then in chapter 6, he lays out 8 points for how we're going to achieve this global transformation. And I read them, and I'm like, yeah, I agree with every one of these. And then I remember that thing I said about, if it's got to begin out there, it's got to start here. And then I asked myself, am I doing these 8 things? And that's when it started to go off the rails a little bit. That's when the level of personal spiritual accountability really hit home. That's when I almost stopped reading the book because I just couldn't handle it anymore. But then it was like, no, this is the challenge. This is the opportunity to take this from some kind of vague, sounds good spiritual mumbo-jumbo, the term my daughter Joy likes to use, spiritual mumbo-jumbo, to your really, really deep in the moment-by-moment practical stuff. So before we jump into them, quick recap, because some of you might need to be brought up to speed. Like I said, I'm not going to ask for show of hands who's been reading the book, but I'm going to make the assumption that some of you are not. Why? Because I was not a good student in college or seminary or any course I've ever took. So I was not one who always stayed on top of the reading, but I sure faked it like I did. So, as you remember, we're talking about how we evolve from duality to interconnectedness to oneness. And while we still had this whole idea of, yes, human consciousness is evolving, the track it's evolving to is set, there's nothing we're going to really kind of do to derail this, and kind of as a result, all the craziness we see going on in the world today really doesn't really matter. While that's still happening, at the same time, we still got to live in that. We still have to be the transformation that we're seeking. Remembering that transformation sometimes needs adversity to be the catalyst. It needs opposition. It needs polarity in our lives to trigger us to go, hey, whoa, I still got this stuff to work on. And so we remember, fingers crossed, to be grateful for the adversity in our life, for the button that got pushed. We also talk about justice being that embodiment of God's divine order on earth. That when we truly achieve justice for all, that's when we will really get that sense of this is the way it's supposed to be. So how do we get there? And I love, again, vague concepts, but I don't know about you guys, but I like a to-do list. I like a practical how-to-do list. Do you know what unity was first called when it was rolling out back in the late 1800s, early 1900s? Practical Christianity. And I know for some of us, Christianity is a word we don't want to cozy up to, but really Christianity is what? The teachings of Jesus. We got fall in the building. The teachings of Jesus. This is really what Christianity is. The teachings of Jesus. And the practical piece, again, is how do we, in every single moment, in every single day, what are the steps that we can do? What is the how-to? What is the to-do list? So in chapter 6, he spells out these 8 precepts, if you will, these 8 teachings that come out of the Baha'i faith. But when you look at pretty much most of all of our global religions, these elements are in there as well. And I'm going to go through them, expand on some of them. But if you read nothing else from this book, read page 105 and 106. I'm not saying don't read anything else. I'm saying, like, this should be the page that you highlight, that you type up, and stick on your mirror in the bathroom and on the door before you walk out, because this is the how-to in many ways, okay? First of all, the independent investigation of reality is a fundamental obligation of all human beings. Sounds great. What does it really mean? What he's really saying is each of us have the responsibility to not just believe things blindly, but to actually ask the deeper questions about them, to challenge them, to doubt them. And I know this is something that many people in Unity, New Thought, we find unity, we say, we've come home, this is great, this is awesome, this is not the fill-in-the-blank Catholic, Methodist, evangelical, whatever upbringing that I had. This is not a bunch of don'ts, this is a bunch of do's, this is all about love, this is awesome, I'm in, and we just hit the ground running. Do we ever take the time to question? Do we ever take the time to go, Unity says this about this, or Buddhism says this about this? Really? Do we take the time to dig in deep, or do we just accept at face value? And many of us are like, well, if I believe it, why do I have to question it? Here's a great thing about questioning and doubt. For me, doubt is not the opposite of faith. For me, doubt solidifies faith. Because when you can take a thing, question it, pull it apart, dig deep into it, and make it your own, then it's there for good. It's solidified. You've not just accepted it as something you should do, but you embrace it as something that is yours to do. So we got to be each doing this. Investigate reality, and we know for us, reality is divinity. So let's dig into that. Number 2, true religion is in harmony with reason and the pursuit of scientific knowledge. Now, this is not a tough one for many of us. I don't think there are any anti-science people in here. I will ask you to raise your hand. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think there are any anti-science people in here. We kind of accept that, right? We're not like that other religion that tries to say science and belief in God can't coexist, and if we believe in God, we've got to ignore science. We aren't those people, right? Okay, just checking. We're not those people. Or are we? Or are we? Because I know for a fact that sometimes when I bring in my talks, I mention research and data and talk about how the brain works and talk about how the brain is connected to consciousness and talk about the actual biological and physiological impacts of spiritual belief. And sometimes I get feedback like, why are you talking about all of that? This is about spirit. We don't need to know all this data and science. This doesn't affect us. I actually get sometimes feedback about that. But I say that it does. We are what? Mind, body, and spirit. We can't ignore one in favor of the other. We can't be so grounded in spirit that we ignore how the mind actually works on a physiological level, because we're that too. We can't affirm our way to health. We got to eat good too and exercise, right? All these things matter. So let's ask ourselves, are we doing this? Are we truly going out, finding out, doing the research? Are we truly asking ourselves, have I incorporated latest findings on things into my spiritual life, into my spiritual belief? Third one, women and men are equal in the sight of their Creator. And this is another one that we often take for granted. Oh, this is unity. We accept everyone. From the foundations of unity, women have been ordained as ministers, and there have been no obstacles. But on a personal level, are we aware of our own gender biases? Here's a riddle. And when this riddle has been asked to groups of people, anywhere from 40 to 75% of the people in the group are stumped when asked this riddle. So a man and his son are in a car wreck. It's a horrible wreck. As soon as they get to the hospital, the father dies. They take the son into surgery, and the surgeon looks at the son and says, I can't operate on him. It's my son. How is this possible? Yeah, the mom's the surgeon. Would you believe that 40 to 75% of people get stumped by this? And I'm not talking like 10, 20 years ago. I'm talking like today. People still get stumped by this. And it's not I'm not saying if you got stumped is a good or bad thing. I'm saying that's just an inherent implicit bias that you have that you don't even know that you have. You're not to blame for it, or society is to blame for it. So again, even though we may say we believe that we're all equal and we're all one, regardless, I'm going to talk some more about this one 2 points down. Are we, though? Are each and every one of us aware of these implicit, hidden prejudices and biases? There's a spiritual solution. This is the next one. Spiritual solution to the world's economic problems. When I read this, I was like, yeah, but of course there is. I don't know that the leaders of our world are going to figure this out in my lifetime, but I know that this is. Now, the deeper question is, have each and every one of us, do we believe that, and do we apply spiritual solutions to our own economic things? Are we walking around living in and from an abundance consciousness? Are you a half full or half glass person? Half glass empty? Are you a person who sees the glass half empty or half full? Or do you miss the whole point and realize that the glass is refillable? Or do you get to the next level and go, glass? What glass? Where are you on that? Again, not judging, simply asking. Do you apply abundance consciousness to everything in your life and your own economic situations? Do you believe that you are always in the divine flow? Do you practice spiritual economics? Do you give so that you can open up to receive? Do you look at what little you have and say, I am so blessed, let me give some more? Where are you in applying spiritual solutions to your own personal economics? Because if you don't do it, each of us individually, it's never going to happen on a global level. Why? Because guess who's the global level? Us. There is no them, there is only us. Let's go to this one. And this is kind of like a follow-up from the gender thing. All forms of prejudice, religious, ethnic, national, or class, must be replaced with the recognition of our oneness. All prejudices. And I spoke about this a few months ago. This brings up the question of implicit bias. Have we been at some deep level programmed to believe certain things about certain people because of their gender, because of their age, because of their ethnicity or their nationality or their economic class? Yes, I believe we are all one, and I'm open to connecting with all. Is that true when you see the homeless man at the intersection with the sign begging you? Is it true when you were approached by someone who clearly looks like they're high or really drunk? Where do we land on this in those moments? Let me talk to you a little bit about implicit bias. These are associations we harbor in our subconscious because that cause us to have feelings and attitudes about each other based on characteristics. These are both favorable and unfavorable. And when we say favorable, this is where we say things like, oh, because I'm a man, I know I can do better or succeed in this position more than a woman can. That's gender bias. Or because I'm white or black, I can have access, I don't have to worry about certain things as I walk down the street. That's implicit bias. These associations develop over the course of a lifetime, beginning at a very early age through exposure to direct and indirect messages. In addition to these life experiences, media and news programming are often cited origins of implicit associations. So again, what we take in can influence these implicit associations. And many of us think, well, the solution then is not to take in that stuff. That's one way to go about it. Or the other way to go about it, rather, is to transform your biases, because that's the good news. They can be transformed so that when you see these implicit biases being acted out in the world around us, we can then step up and be a voice against them. To step up and say, no, that person deserves to be treated as a human being, regardless of the fact that what their gender is, what their sexual identity is, what their size is, what their age is, what their ethnicity is. And consciously, yes, we say we're there, but we all have these implicit biases. And here's the thing about implicit biases, more good news than bad news. We don't know that we can't figure out within ourselves that we have them until we are in the experience of acting them out. So you can't sit and meditate and say, I'm open to these implicit biases being revealed. That's not how it works. We don't even know that we have them. You probably have an implicit bias around meditation, as it is. We don't know. So we have to be open and exposed to these things. This is not all bad news. The energy in the room suddenly is glum. Okay? So, again, see these not as obstacles and hurdles. Rather, see these as realizations that can kind of give you hope, because all these things are achievable. And the only person that has to achieve them is ourselves. I don't have to make the world honor this list. I don't have to make the world. I only got to make myself. I only have to make myself. Let's go on to the next one. The variety of religious expression in the world has the same source and shares a unity of purpose. And we all say, yeah, we're in unity. We honor all paths to God, right? And it's okay. We don't think there's any wrong religion. So, yeah, check on that one. Really, though? Really, though? I'll throw myself under the bus. I'll throw myself under the bus. It's only within the last 3 to 4 years that I could get to a place of comfort of saying that, yes, That evangelical church that I was raised in and grew up in, the one that taught me everybody else was wrong, going to hell, the one that said only men can do certain things in the church and women can't, that evangelical group, yeah, same source and shares unity of purpose. It took me a while to get there. And some of us aren't there when we watch the news and hear what some other religious groups are doing. Are we all the same? No, we're not all the same. Do we look at their teachings and precepts and agree with all of them? No, I don't agree with them. I don't agree with any religion that says a woman is inferior in some way to a man or isn't eligible to the same rights and privileges. I don't agree with that. However, here's what I know, though. Any experience that invites a person into a closer relationship and understanding of the divine, that's a good thing. It is a good thing. It's up to that person how long they want to stay in that, embrace that, believe that. But the journey of 1,000 miles begins with what? One step. And my first step was not unity. In fact, unity is probably like my fourth step. And one of those steps included trying not to believe in anything at all. We only get here how we get here. So let's be really, really conscious about how we choose to give some religions a pass and others not a pass. We want to give Buddhism a pass. But do your homework. There's some Buddhist movements out there that are extremely violent. Did you know this? Yeah, there's some out there. And again, but this is one sect's interpretation of it. Any experience that brings us to a closer understanding and relationship with the divine, that's a good thing. Let's look at this next one. Humanity is one family. And we might say, oh yeah, I like that. That sounds good. That sounds nice. I embrace that. But you know what they say about family? Family is like a box of chocolates. All sweet, but some of them got nuts in them. And we look at our own family, and we know who the nutcases in our family are. And if you're thinking of your family and can't come with any nutcases, guess who's the nutcase? Just putting that out there. Do with it what you want. We know there are members in our family that we intentionally avoid. And then we have friends who are so close to us, we call them our family. I don't like my own family, so I'm going to adopt you as mine because I like you more. As I like to say, we have to like everybody, but we sure do got to love them. And we got to realize that we are one family. There is no us and them, however them can be characterized and however us can be characterized. We are one family. And here's the thing about family that you know, even if you got your family members or nutcases, you don't like them very much, when stuff goes down, you step up for them because they're family. Right? So, will we do this for everyone? Humanity is one family. And last but not least, nature is the embodiment of the divine. And we all get on this one, right? We love nature. We take care of nature. We live in one of the most beautiful natural areas of this country, of this world, up in New England. Yeah, I got that. We're good. And then I read this statement. Have we extended our compassion to all living things? And we're thinking, yeah, I did that as I slapped the mosquito dead on my arm. And you're thinking, but it's just a mosquito. It's just a fly. It's just an ant. These things may or may not count. And I know it sounds extreme and ridiculous, right? Because let me just tell you, if there's a trail of ants or a mouse invading my kitchen, they're gone. Don't mess with my food source, okay? Now, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I got to work on that. because they're part of nature too. Just as I am part of nature. And this one's going to be tough for me because I don't give a second thought. Remember I told you I grew up in Barbados? Yeah, I don't give a second thought to killing a mosquito. Yeah. Many of us don't. But what are we actually in our deepest of deepest self saying? This is a piece of nature that we don't care about. Okay? Again, I'm not inviting you to any challenge that I'm not stepping into myself. It's going to be fascinating not killing mosquitoes moving forward. What am I going to do? I don't know. I haven't come up with some options yet. Citronella versus DEET, maybe. So get some candles going. Get a nice fly swatter, but don't actually swat, just gently brush aside. I don't know how this is going to look, right? But here's the thing that I realize. For me to begin to embrace these 8 teachings at my deepest core, my deepest level, in every practical moment of my life is going to be work. It's going to be work at first. Why is it going to be work at first? Because sometimes change is work at first. I've got to change my mindset. I've got to change my implicit biases, my unconscious behaviors. Because we love the big picture statement. Nature is the embodiment of the divine. Let's go plant some stuff. Let's go take care of the garden. Let's go walk in a park. Let's go hiking. Let's go appreciate the sunsets and the ocean. Yeah. But in our every single mundane moment of our life, are we living this? Are we living any of the other 7 teachings that come out of that? Let me finish up with this paragraph on page 107. So interdependently tied together are these precepts that the realization of one depends upon the realization of all the others. They are each aspects of the overarching principle of the oneness of humanity, whose fate will be determined by the collective depth of conviction given over to these spiritual precepts of our time. Let me say that again. These are each aspects of the overarching principle of the oneness of humanity, whose fate will be determined by the collective depth of conviction given over to these spiritual precepts of our time. These 8 precepts resonate with the spirit of the age. They are today's equivalent of the 10 Commandments. So, if you've still held out about buying the book, get it. Page 105. Look at these precepts, these teachings, these invitations into the global unity and oneness that we say we want to see and experience. And realize that we got to do each and every one of them, pretty much down to the letter. And you're saying that's huge. That's a lot of transformation you're asking of me. Yeah. But one step at a time. One step at a time. And it just might begin by sparing the life of that poor mosquito. Let's take this into meditation. So I invite you to center yourselves in the here and now again. Simply taking a few deep breaths. To the best of your ability, let the flow of thoughts follow the flow of your breath. Allow yourself to get lost but still centered in the breath as it enters and leaves your body. and without judgment of where you are now in your personal and spiritual evolution. Simply affirm, I transform my consciousness daily. I transform my consciousness daily. Yes, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. A future world at peace begins with each of us embracing peace today. I transform my consciousness daily. So we allow ourselves to be open to those moments as they occur that invite us to take a step towards raising consciousness, evolving consciousness, to releasing biases, to true healing and being at peace. I transform my consciousness daily. I transform my consciousness daily. Let us take this into a time of silence. I transform my consciousness daily. Let us hold this affirmation not only for ourselves, but all our names in our prayer box. All these situations, all these circumstances, all these people, these prayer requests made from love. Let us hold it for these individuals, they too ground themselves and remember this truth, that their way out is the way in, into their own transformation of consciousness. the solutions to all problems are spiritual ones. And should we hold that intention for anyone else in our lives, I invite you to say their names out loud now. In so doing, we are affirming our own transformation of consciousness in their life. And we hold that to them as well. That deeper realization that all that which we seek begins with us. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, and all the fear and worry run away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love.
That is one belief I want to live by. Thank you, band, choir, Ogun. Take a deep breath. Isn't it wonderful to be here? Oh, my goodness. I'd like to introduce our chaplains. If you're able to stand, these are our beautiful people here, able to receive your prayers and concerns after the service. Thank you so much. Also, if you have a need, we have a home and hospital prayer chaplain program. Anybody here from that program who yes, can't remember your name. Sandy. Nancy. Okay, Dave. Time to get that hearing aid. This is the core. This is the relationship support that we have in this community that's so special. And also remember to submit your prayer requests. If you have them, you can write them out and put them in our prayer box. They will get prayed over here and then sent to Silent Unity, and they will be prayed over there as well. Now is the time in our service when we prepare for our tithes and offerings, the gifts that we receive, and then we pass on and give. So let us hold this prayer and say together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
All right, while we collect up our offering, couple of announcements. We're at the end of October, which means next month is November, which means before too long, Thanksgiving will be upon us. And every year here, we do a wonderful Thanksgiving meal, potluck, on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. So it's not too early to start signing up and think about what you want to bring for that. And we also do a hilarious open mic night. How many of you have been to the open mic nights we've had on Thanksgiving before? Yeah, never a dull moment in that thing. So once again, sign-ups are available if you want to share a talent, whether it's singing, reading a poem, something you've wrote, yodeling. Yes, we did have yodeling one year. That was truly something. And Keith, wave Keith, over there on the guitar. Keith is going to be overseeing the open mic portion. So there's a sign-up sheet at the Spiritual Resource Center. Now, here's the thing. After you sign up, we need to preview your act. Keith will be previewing your act after church on the 2 Sundays before the open mic. So the open mic's that Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So I think that's like the 11th and the 18th, or maybe the 18th and the whatever it is, 2 Sundays. What? That's correct. Okay, so we need to review your act, and this is not a audition. This is more for us to give you some hints as how to make this delivery more successful for you. Okay, so it's worked every year. We've done it. So if you need some hints, talk to Keith. Have a conversation with Keith about do we have musicians? If you want to play CD in the background, we need to know all these things before you show up to do your act. So this is why we need to review and preview these things. And as you all know, before Thanksgiving, we have our gala. Gala is when? November 10th. Get your tickets. Tickets are going. Get your tickets today. 2 things. Gina, where's Gina? Here's Gina. Gina will be in hospitality afterwards. Gina would love some volunteer help the night of the gala. So if you're going to be there and you can lend Gina a hand, please see Gina. She's got some slots need to be filled. And also, we're still open to receiving some items for auction, both the silent auction and raffles and our live auction. Items have been coming in. Go take a look at Peter's office. It looks like an auction trading house in there. It is quite fascinating. There's a cage that a child could fit into. I have no questions about why, but anything's up for grabs, I suppose. And today, raffle. So I said we have raffle tickets. We're actually going to start auctioning off a couple of these items before the gala, because I know some of you who are not able to come to gala sometimes go, well, I would love to bid on some of these items. So we're going to actually start that a little bit earlier, not today, but before the auction. And there's also the opportunity to get raffle tickets. Raffle tickets are $1 each, or you can get 6 raffle tickets for $5, or for $10, you get what we've affectionately called an Ogun, which is this many for 10, right? $10. I counted them for the first time today. We've been doing this for 3-4 years, as long as I've been here, and I counted them. You know how many tickets are in this right now? A little over 30. And I did the math, and I'm like, we went from 1 to 6 to 30. We didn't really think this through, but we're givers. We're generous. So for $10, you can get this many raffle tickets, and there's going to be a ton of items to raffle off. And in fact, today we want to give away these raffle tickets to one of you lucky people. So if in your bulletin you have a sticker of a pumpkin, these are yours. Anybody got the pumpkin sticker? Who's that? Who's that back there? Yay, come on up. We got a winner. So I sincerely hope you got your gala ticket, right? You got your gala ticket? I know. Well, look at that. Big winner.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Big winner. So please get your gala tickets today and enjoy the fun. Please go help out Gina however you can. And if there are any of you who are in a position to buy a couple extra tickets so that we could have maybe some reduced price tickets for some other folks, please talk to Gina as well. Let us give some thanks for these offerings that came in today. So I invite you to go to a place of gratitude within your hearts as we say thank you for these gifts that we've collected here today, and for all those who gave today, all those who tithe online, all those who mail in gifts, all those who have automatic donations from their bank set up. However, you contribute, you give, you invest in your spiritual community here. We are so grateful. And we tie the portion of these back to the Amesbury community, the wider unity movement, and we continue to be in that flow of abundance. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. All right, David's got some more thank yous. While he's coming up, come on up, David. I do have one other announcement. Cindy, our communications director and office manager, some of you know her, next Sunday will be her last Sunday employed with us. So that position of communications director / office manager is open. We have job descriptions at our Spiritual Resource Center. So if you might be interested or think somebody you know might be interested in that, who's got some skills, pick up a copy of the job description and let us know. Over to you, David.
In the spirit of gratitude, it takes so many people to put together a service and keep our community going and vital as it is. So I'd like to mention Frank, Ginny, Lacey, Malik, Mark and Renee, Amy, Jim, and Joanne. And our teams, we have so many teams: Adventures in Faith, teams, youth and ministry, family ministry, gala. Oh boy, Gina's been working so hard on that gala. We need to give her all the support we can. And the Unity Music team, as always. And we always like to recognize our board members who are behind the scenes. Would you stand? Let us recognize you. Everybody, stand. Monica. And I think that's it. And now we are going to have the final last hurrah here. We are walking in the light.
Two quick things. One is the cabaret is coming up this next Friday, and I'll be part of the lineup for that, and Keith as well. So that's we hold that in the room next door, the fellowship room, with a little sound system we set up and everything. So it was fun. The first one we did was great. I'm sure this one will be great. Also, if you're in the Hamilton area, my daughter and I are in Seussical. That's one that, I do a lot of these shows, and I go, God, I can't wait to do the next one, because then I know I've memorized my parts and whatever. And this is one where I'm like, yeah, well, I did it. It's good. It's a fun show. It's just... There's 6 of us adults, and there's 25 children in the show. So it's been a little trying.
Backing yourself up,
Oh, I'm trading my sorrows. I'm trading my shame. I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. I'm trading my sickness. I'm trading my pain. I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. And we say, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, amen. I'm pressed but not crushed, I'm persecuted, I'm not abandoned. I'm struck down but I'm not destroyed. I'm blessed beyond the curse, for his promise will endure, and his joy is gonna be my strength. Your sorrows may last for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Yeah. I'm trading my sorrows, I'm trading my shame. I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. Oh, I'm trading my sin. say, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, amen. Let me hear it one more time. And we say, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, amen. Alex Valenti, isn't he great? Pressed but not crushed, I'm persecuted, I'm not abandoned, I'm struck down but I'm not destroyed. I am blessed beyond the curse, for his promise will endure. His joy is gonna be my strength. Your sorrows may last for a night, but joy comes in the morning. I'm trading my sorrow, I'm trading my shame, I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. Oh, I'm trading my sickness, I'm trading my pain, I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. Let's wake ourselves up. Here we go. We say, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, amen. One more. And we say, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, amen. It's a sing-along part. La 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 la. Be happy. La 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 la. Pretty good. La 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 la. One more. La 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 la. Thank you, Brian and Alex. Let's stay on our feet as we welcome in our children walking as the light. We are walking as the light of God. We are walking as the light of God. We are walking as the light of
I stand in the presence. So today we basically had time for the kids to play art, time for the play art, to do or make art and play, to connect with each other. When we paused to center and do our circle, our two focuses were simply, what were you grateful from the week past? And what are you grateful for in the week coming? So right now, Joy and Rebecca Hale are away at Rally. And they're representing us in the larger community. Thank you.
All right, grounded in gratitude. Imagine if you were growing up from this age, learning how to be grounded in gratitude. How profoundly different would your life be right now? It's not too late, though. Start today. Grounded in gratitude. Let's stand, take the hand of our neighbor, affirm the truth for these children, for ourselves, that there is peace on earth, and it begins with us.
love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well, and we are richly blessed.
Go be transformed this week.
Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes,